Hello and welcome to the Marble Racing League live stream. We're here today for round 12 of season 5 of the Marble Racing League Championship here at the Albert Park circuit in Australia. It'll be a 29 lap race, but we're starting off with an 80-minute qualifying session as we usually do. So 18 drivers will be competing in this round. I will give an update on the team standings. So we have Williams at the top, followed by Red Bull, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin wrapping up the top 5. Then a bit of a gap down to AlphaTauri, McLaren and Mercedes, who all got ahead of Haas on the previous rounds, who are now in 9th in the championship. Alpine are still in 10th place. And then onto the driver standings. So we have Sucre F1 in the championship leads still with 225 points. William in the Ferrari is on 164 points. And then Andrew and Daryl are 12 points away from each other in 3rd and 4th place. Sebastian a few points behind them on 103 points in the Alfa Romeo. Chonk and Yak really close together, battling for 6th place in the championship. Not too far behind them are Race Chase, Kevin and Quincy rounding up the top 10. Just outside the top 10 is Diego, followed by the McLarens of Arco44 and Skid. And in 14th in the championship is Sinful on 30 points. Racing Wheel in the Alpines on 25 points. Sinful's teammate Veroduco is on 22 points in the other Haas. Ibo's on 14 points in 17th place. Heights is in 7th place in the Mercedes. And Ultimate Mr. Puro wraps at the top 19 in the drivers' standings. Let's go on board with Glass Glanco and the Alpine for their first flying lap of the qualifying session. Let's go on board with him. Bit deep into the first corner, gets into the grass. He's going to lose quite a bit of time there. Takes a lot of cover in the exit there. Onto the second DRS zone of the circuit. Brakes for the 100 marker board. Bit deep into there. And I think they've aborted the lap. Let's go on board with Sebastian. He's at the final sector of the lap. This is 90 right of turn 11. Now heading into turn 12. And into turn 13. The penultimate corner. Very easy to lock up there. And very easy to lose the rear here and clip the outside wall. He avoids that. Daryl set a flying lap time of 1:18.7. The first driver set a flying lap here at round 12 today. Sebastian goes quicker with a 1:18.0. Let's go on board with the reserve driver for Mercedes today. That's Callum in the Mercedes. So Diego's now set a lap time of a 1:22.0. Other drivers, so Veroduca set a lap time of 1:21.674. Ooh, and that's Callum losing the rear there, coming out of turn 11, reverses the car. Hits the barrier there. Let's see if anyone else is going to go. So that's a McLaren leaving the pit lane to start their out lap. Also on a flying lap, I think, is so yeah, so Ultimate Mr. Puro there is on their flying lap. Diego has got his lap time validated, so he won't be able to set a flying lap this time round. He might go for another one. On board is DJ Lewis Virus, the reserve driver for Red Bull today. Heading into the third sector now, so that's turn 11. Nice exit through there. Slight left through here to head into turn 12. The much slower turn 13. Ooh, very close to losing it into the barrier there for DJ Lewis Virus there. Manages to avoid the barrier. Big step of oversteer on the exit. Maintains 4th position. Not a surprise there to see Sukrov 1, our championship leader. He is the first driver to go into the 117s. He set a lap time of 117.67. Let's go on board as Quincy now. He's currently in P5, who set a lap time of 119.8. He'll be looking to get further into the top 5 by the end of this lap. He could be on an in lap. He's, yeah. Let's go on board as Trunk, who's yet to set a flying lap. Heading to the final sector now. Now approaching the final corner, coming out of turn 14. No incidents at that final corner for the moment. That's DJ Lewis Virus coming back into the pit lane with 11 minutes to go. He got his lap time invalidated, so he's going to put on a new set of tyres. Let's go on board with Verdugo, who is 16th in the championship standings. His teammate Sinful's in 14th in the championship standings. They have dropped quite a few positions in the team standings in recent rounds, so they'll be looking to get ahead of their rivals McLaren and Mercedes, who are in 7th and 8th place in the team standings at the moment. Let's go on board with Callum, and he's on his second flying lap. Oh, gets quite deep there. DRS, the second DRS zone, so that's coming out of turn 2. Early braking into turn 3. Nice hits the apex there. This corner's flat out if you get it right. Yep. Probably the trickiest corner in the circuit, turn 6 and 7. Very easy to get your line wrong and completely ruin your run down this third DRS zone, which is through turn 7, 8, 9. So we're approaching turn 9 now. If you get that apex wrong, you will get this corner wrong as well. So that's turn 10. And now into the final DRS zone of the circuit. Yellow flag ahead, but that is 4 drivers getting out the way. He's now approaching the final few corners of the lap. A relatively clean lap so far for Callum in the Mercedes, the reserve driver for Mercedes this round. And he's coming around the final corner to go P11. So that's P11 for Callum. He's just behind Ultimate Mr. Puro in the timing, so he was in 10th place. He was very wide there. A lot of curb there for Ultimate Mr. Puro, that might lose him some time. He might be in an in-lap though. Let's stay on board with him. Not many drivers are on a flying lap at the moment. Tyre line through there. Misses the apex on the outside there, so that might lose him a bit of time. You brake just before the 50 marker there. Okay, and now he's into the final sector of the lap. So, into turn 12 he goes, and now into turn 13. Okay, he backs out, he's really going to come back into the pit lane. Yeah. So, he's in 10th place, and he's going to return to the pit lane now. Diego looks to be in the flying lap, one of the only drivers on the flying lap so far. at the moment. Race Chase has retired from the session. Okay. There was a qualifying ban given to a few drivers. One of them was simple. I can't remember the other one. I'll just see that now. Oh yeah, there we go. Ultimate Puro, who has set a lap time. Who is in 10th place. So I wonder what's happened there. Diego actually moved up to 7th place, so he's in 7th now. His teammates in 2nd. That the Alpine getting out the way. Yeah, that's Slanko who set the slowest lap time so far. Oh, very close there between the Aston Martin of Darrell actually. So that's the driver who's in 3rd place at the moment. They're in 3rd place, actually 4th place now in the standings. They were in 3rd place going into Austria. That was our previous round, but they've dropped a position again in the standings. However, the gap between 2nd and 4th place in the championship is very close, so anything can change after this round. Aston Martin also unfortunately dropped to 5th in the standings after last round. They had a double DNF. They apparently collided too. Let's now go on board with William, who is in 2nd place in the championship. Braking to turn 3, the 2nd DRS zone of the circuit. Nice line through turn 4, heading into the flat out turn 5. It's a lot of curve there, you don't want to go too wide there, you'll probably lose it into the barrier. Nasty snap of oversteer there for William coming out of turn 6 and into turn 7. Now on the run to turn 9, the very fast complex of turn 9 and turn 10. Uses a lot of curve there and there. And it's a very quick exit coming out of turn 10 onto the final DRS zone of the circuit. Important not to take too much curve there because you'll hit the very big curve, which can cause a lot of understeer there. And coming out the final corner, let's see where this puts William, who's currently in 4th place. He could move up to... Is he going to prove in time? Yes, he will. He's now up into 3rd place. The driver who's 2nd place in the standings is going to be in 3rd place for the race. For the moment, things can change. We have got, I think, another 5 minutes left in the session. Yeah, just under 5 minutes. So that's Sukov won with the fastest time. The only driver into the 116s so far, they're only just in the 116s. Sebastian is nearly into the 116s too, in the Alfa Romeo. Darrell in the Aston Martin is on an outlap. And Williams on an in-lap with 4 minutes to go. DJ Lewis Virus has just finished his flying lap. He's in 9th place. I don't think he improved in his time at the end of the last lap. On board is Callum, who looks to be on another flying lap, so he's coming into turn 11 now. Ooh, gets it all wrong there. Takes a lot of curb, coming into turn 12 and 13. And Callum comes across the line to go into the top 10. That's both Mercedes inside the top 10 now. Ultimate Mr. Pura and the Aston Martin is the second driver to retire from the session. Sinful is also retired from the session, and that's not the best of scenarios for Callum, who's now hit the barrier, and with only a few minutes to go in the session, is touch and go whether he can come to the pit lane and have enough time to do another flying lap. He's at risk of falling outside the top 10. Suka F1 has now set a quicker time of a 1:16.93. Let's go on board with Daryl now, who's not in the flying lap. They're waiting to start their flying lap with 2 minutes to go. Majority of drivers on an out lap, so that's Suka F1, Sebastian, William, RK44, who's had a great qualifying so far on the McLaren, then Tronk, Quincy, Diego. Yeah, that's all the drivers on an out lap. Callum is on his way to the pit lane after getting some wing damage. Ibo has unfortunately got his lap time deleted in the AlphaTauri. He's only got 11% of DRS left, and he's hit the barrier coming out of turn 14. I think he's the first driver to do that. I expect many more to do the same during the race. Very tricky corner. Very easy to lose the rear there. Have to get offline. Let's go on board with Diego, who is currently 8th place. He's 11th place in the standing. His fastest lap time so far is a 1:19.3. Heading to turn 3 now. Gets it nicely turned in. And now straight into turn 4. Wide line there, that might lose him a bit of time. And then into turn 5. Little lift off the throttle there, so that might lose him more time. The car hit nicely through there, no snaps of understeer or oversteer coming out of turn 7. Looking like a very clean lap for Diego so far. Drivers are now crossing the finish line, the checkered flag, to set their final flying lap. That's Tronk, who's going up into 5th place with 7 seconds to go in the session. Let's go on board with Diego, who will be our first driver to cross the checkered flag to finish their final flying lap. Diego remains in 8th place. Had a bit of a messy middle sector in the lap, so that could have lost some time. Now board is Quincy, who's currently in 7th place, is on track to improve on his time. He's now well into the final sector. Let's go on board with Tronk, let's go on board with DJ Lewis Virus. Who's now, okay, let's go back on board with Quincy, who's exiting the final corner now in the Mercedes. Can he improve his lap time of 1:19.1? He can. He's now set a lap time of 1:18.7 and has gone up into 6th place. And it looks like he will remain in 6th place, and all the drivers behind him have finished their qualifying session. That's Tronk getting it all wrong into turn 9. He will not be able to improve on his current time, fastest time of 1:18.5. Now on board is Daryl, who looks to have aborted his lap. He is going to remain in 4th place. It looks like that's how the grid will end. So that's going to be Suka F1 on pole and Sebastian in the Alfa Romeo looking out the front row. Then we have the Ferrari of William and Daryl, who are 2nd and 4th in the championship, lining up in row 2. Tronk and Quincy, who are also in the top 10 in the championship, are going to be lining up in row 3 in 5th and 6th place. Then comes RK44 and Diego on row 4 in the McLaren and the Williams, who are both outside of the top 10 of the championship standings. And then wrapping up the top 10 for this race is the two reserve drivers for this round. So that's DJ Lewis Virus and Callum. Glass Blanco in the Alpine is the other reserve driver for this round. Racing Wheel is just outside the top 10 in the Alpine. And then we have Veriduco in the Haas, wrapping up row 6. Ultimate Mr. Pura and Ibo in the AlphaTauri, lined up on row 7 in 13th and 14th place. Glass Blanca is in 15th place, setting the slowest lap time, 10 seconds down the Suzuka F1. Race Chase, Skid Solo, and Simple outside the top 10. Okay, so now we're starting the final preparations for the race, which will probably commence in 2 or 3 minutes' time. For those who have just joined the live stream, we have Suzuka F1 and Robastian, who are 1st and 5th in the championship standings, starting on the front row. William and Daryl, who are 2nd and 4th in the championship standings, are going to start on the 2nd row in the Ferrari and the Aston Martin. And then we will have, I think it's Quincy in the Mercedes in 6th place. I can't remember who was just ahead of him, might have been Tronk in the Red Bull. And then on row 4 we have Arco 44 and Diego in 7th and 8th place. And wrapping up the top 10 we have Callum and DJ Lewis Virus in the Mercedes and the Red Bull. They are both reserve drivers. Glass Blanca starting in 15th place in the Alpine. They are starting. They are the other reserve driver for Alpine for this round. Simple and Skid Solo starting at the back of the grid after not setting a time. And just to give you an update on the team standings, we have Williams at the top of the standings, Red Bull, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo and Aston Martin wrapping at the top 5. And then we have AlphaTauri, McLaren, Mercedes and Haas very close together in the points wise, and then Alpine wrapping out the top 10. The top 10 in the driver standings is Suzuka F1, William and Andrew, Daryl and Robastian. The battle between 2nd and 5th place is very close. Then a bit of a gap down to Tronk and Yaxt, who are 1 point away from each other in the standings. Race Chase, Kevin and Quincy, who are tied in points, wrap up the top 10. Diego's just outside the top 10 in the other Williams. The race will start in under a minute's time. It's a 29 lap race, 50% distance race here in Australia today for round 12 of the championship. The gap between 1st and 2nd place in the drivers' standings has now grown to over 60 points. So let's see if Suzuka F1 can extend that gap, or if William can win this round and close that gap down. We still have 6 rounds to go after this one, so anything can happen. I would say the top 5 drivers are still in contention for this championship, for season 5 of the Marlboro Racing League Championship. We are moments away from the beginning of the race. Suzuka F1 has won 7 times this season so far. Can he extend that streak to 8? We are underway. Not a great start from Trunk, who has stalled, and there's been a crash there between the Alpines. Immediate crash there, but it's Suzuka F1 who's maintained the lead. Darrell and William are battling into turn 1. William's been forced wide there. Darrell has lost a place. Quincy and Diego fell up behind them. Was a disastrous start for Trunk, who got caught up in the accident with an Alpine. So that's Racing Wheel and Glass Slanker spinning out on the opening lap. And there's already a 3-second time penalty for Diego that might have been for track limits, or possibly contact with another driver. But yeah, I'm board now with our leaders, Suzuka 1 and Sebastian, who is 5 cents behind him. Then we have William and Darrell, who's only 1/10 behind William. They're going to go side by side into 9, and William's got ahead of Darrell. So then after them comes Quincy, then Diego, RQ44, Callum, Ibo, who's had a brilliant start, and then DJ Lewis Virus in the Red Bull wrapping up the top 10, who's now been overtaken by Race Chase heading into turn 12. Oh, sorry, turn 11. He has the inside line and is now inside the top 10. The Race Chase, who DNF'd in qualifying, has now got himself up into the top 10. Sinful's just behind Battle, and so is Skid Solo, and Ultimate is Tapuro. Duco's there in 15th place. There's been a crash there, so that's Callum, who's gone to the wall there. He's got some front wing damage, I think. Let's go back on board with the leaders. So not the best of starts for the reserve driver for Mercedes this weekend. He's lost his front wing and has lost it into the barrier coming out of turn 14 on the opening lap here. Yellow flag, that might be for Callum again as he heads into turn 3. DJ Lewis Virus has picked up a penalty, that might be for speeding on the pit exit or for track limits. No DRS enabled yet, but Sebastian already getting great slipstream from Suzuka from behind. William is also under a second, so he's likely to get to be within DRS range heading into lap 3. And Darrell's not too far behind them. Bit of gap behind to Quincy, and then Diego, who's 8 tenths behind him. RQ44 is putting pressure on Diego and the Williams there. Nearly 3-second gap back to Ibo, who's now gone into the gravel and has just about managed to avoid the barriers. That's Ibo there running into trouble. He's now dropped a few positions. Duco gets past him, so he's now heading to turn 13 in 12th place. And that's William Lofgren, who has now set the fastest lap of the race in the Ferrari in 3rd place, looking to close the gap down to Sebastian and Suzuka F1. That gap has grown, so it's now nearly a second. And it's now an over second gap. Oh, that's Sebastian nearly binning it into the wall there. The Alfa Romeo, very lucky to escape the wall there. Had a nasty exit coming out of turn 5. And that has caused him to be outside DRS range. Although William looks to have made a mistake as well, and is also a second behind. So all the reserve drivers so far have picked up penalties, unfortunately, in addition to Diego in the Williams in 7th place. And then we have Darrell and then Quincy wrapping up the top 5. RQ44 has managed to get ahead of Diego, who's picked up a penalty. Race Chase 3 seconds behind them. He got held up by Ibo, who was in 8th place before. Simple and Ultimate Mr. Puro rounding up the top 10. Yes, a very big gap between Suzuka F1 and Sebastian, who's lost a lot of time there. That's Callum, who seems to have had an incident, and that's caused a safety car. Safety car deployed on lap 4 of the 29 lap race here at Albert Park today. Looks to be due to Callum having the second incident of the race for him so far. The reserve driver for Mercedes. Yeah, a lot of hairy moments for the drivers so far, including the driver in 2nd place, Sebastian, managed to lose a lot of time to the lead as a result of going wide in turn 5 and very close to the wall as well. But now we've got a safety car, and that gap will diminish by the time we have the safety car restart, which will probably be at the end of lap 6, I would imagine. We are only 4 laps in, so that might be a good time to pit. Let's go on board with the tyre compounds graphic. Simple there have gained the most places, and Chonk has lost the most places as a result of stalling in the grids. Yeah. Majority of drivers, especially in the top 10, are on the medium compound tyre. Ibo is on the soft tyre. That might be the reason for why he's gained a lot of positions at the start there. He started 14th, immediately got up to 8th place, but is now, as a result of a mistake, he's now dropped down outside the top 10 into 12th place. He's the only driver on soft tyres at the moment. Let's go on board with Ultimate Superior. What tyre does he switch to? He's putting on a new set of medium tyres, a brand new set of medium tyres for him, and for Simple, and for Race Chase too. Chonk's on a new set of hard tyres, and then we have Callum in the Mercedes on a new set of hard tyres too. He pitted at the end of the lap before the safety car. He was the cause of the safety car too. And then we have Glass Slanker, who was nearly ended up a lap down. Who's on the medium tyre in the Alpine. So for those who missed the start of the race, we had a big collision between Chonk and the two Alpines, who have dropped down to 15th, 16th and 18th place. Chonk started 5th, so he's lost 10 positions as a result of the stall. He's actually gained place as a result of Callum's incident in the Mercedes. Ultimate Mr. Puro, G's Lewis Virus, the reserve driver for Red Bull today. Simple and Ibo wrap up the drivers outside the top 10. Simple on Ultimate Mr. Puro have pitted. They were originally inside the top 10, but they have now pitted and are outside it. Race Chase also pitted for a new set of medium tyres. He's at the far end of the top 10. Ahead of Veriduca in the half, who is not pitted and is on the hard tyres and is going to stay out. As is Skid Solo on the hard tyres in the McLaren. McLaren had a very successful race last time out. They managed to get themselves up into 7th place in the team standings. They were 8th. And Mercedes followed them. Both those teams managed to get ahead of Haas in the standings after last round. I'll just check the gap between them and AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri are 19 points ahead of them, so the gap between the bottom 6 is very close. And the gap between 2nd and 5th in the team standings is also really, really tight between those teams too. We're now approaching the end of lap 6, so I would imagine the safety car would come in at the end of this lap. Just waiting for the notification. Should come anytime now. The only driver to get to reach the back of the safety car queue is Glass Slanker, who was 18th place and currently last in the Alpine. No DNFs yet, but we still have a safety car due to Callum having some problems coming into this corner hit, which is turn 11. He might have lost it into the gravel. Okay, so safety car in at the end of this lap. Let's see when Suco F1 restarts the racing action here in Albert Park today for round 12. of the Mab Race League Championship. He's coming out the final corner. He's leaving it very late as a Sucre F1, but he goes now. So Sucre F1 leads the restart, just ahead of Sebastian, William, Daryl, Quincy, and RQ44, Diego, Skid Solo, Verduca, and Race Chase rounding at the top 10. Very close between the top 10 there, as we head into the first segment of corners. Sucre F1 has maintained his lead. Sebastian is only 4.5 tenths behind him. That's Daryl going for a move down the inside of his rival, William. William defends the position heading into turn 4. And Quincy's defending heavily against RQ44, who went very well there. And there is a yellow flag, that's a Callum again. Ibro has lost to place 2. Let's go back on board as leaders. Let's go back on board with Daryl. He's going to go down the inside of William there, up into 3rd place. The position gain in the restart there for Daryl. Callum seems to have had an off there in turn 6. Has got back going. Into turn... Oh yeah, turn 11. Now it's turn 12 for Daryl. That's Sucre F1 and Sebastian. All of these drivers in the top 4 are in contention for the championship, so very important to keep their nose clean the remaining laps of this race. It's now this battle between the top 4 has split into a 2 battle. The gap of nearly 2 seconds between Sebastian and Daryl and Aston Martin. Simple and Skid Solo are battling. Let's go on board with that. Oh, but Skid Solo goes into the grass. You might need to give that position back to Simple. Yellow flag momentarily in sector 1. Wonder what that was for. And Ultimate Superior is trying to make a move there. Let's go back on board with our leaders though. The gap between Sucre F1 and Sebastian is not that large at all. It's closed down very quickly because of the 4 DRS zones here. However, DRS have not been enabled yet. It'll be enabled in the next lap, as long as we don't get a safety car. The very close battles between Sucre F1 and Sebastian, Daryl and William, and then Quincy and RQ44. And that's RQ44 going for a move down the inside. Quincy cuts him off, heading into turn 11. That's our Ultimate Superior, Simple, taking the outside line there. And that's Skid Solo, 3 battles there, and Chonk, who's stalled in the grid at the start of the race, is right behind them in 12th place. Let's go on board with them. And there's been a spin, so that's Daryl. Unfortunately missed that. That is Daryl, who's lost the rear there, coming out of turn 14. He's now dropped to 8th place, still inside the top 10 crucially. And let's go back on board with Sebastian, who is in 2nd place. He's remained this top 2 has remained the same for the entirety of the race so far. Oh! Big snap of oversteer for Sebastian, who has lost the rear coming out of turn 5, and he's lost his entire front wing too. That has definitely caused a safety car. It has our 2nd safety car. Sebastian now has a great opportunity to pit. Very heart and mouth moment there for Sebastian in the Alfa Romeo, who's in 5th position in the championship. That chance of winning the championship for him is slipping away. Sucre F1 is 120, over 120 points ahead of him, so he needs, he's only got 6 rounds to go to close that gap, which would be quite a big ask. That's Sebastian there, who's lost his front wing. Yeah. Turn 5 is one of the trickier corners of the circuit, as is the corner we're on board with now, turn 14. We've seen drivers having problems there the entirety of this race so far. Catching out 2 of our championship contenders, so that's Sebastian and Daryl making errors on lap 9. Loads of drivers pitting, but not Sucre F1, who has stayed out. Sorry, Diego, sorry. Sucre F1, his teammate, comes out in a new set of hard tyres. He's going to remain in the 2nd place. Ultimate Superior and Simple wrap out 3rd and 4th position. They haven't pitted. Skid Solo is in 5th, ahead of Tronk, Racing Rule, DJ Lewis Virus, William, Sebastian, Quincy, RK44, Glass Flanker, Ibo, Race Chase, Roduke and Daryl, who are both pitted, wrap out our running order of the 17 drivers remaining in this race. Yeah, not a good 3 laps for both Sebastian and Daryl. Really race ending instance there, especially for Sebastian, who we were on board with, having a nasty snap of overs to there, heading quickly to the barriers at turn 5. So as a result of Diego not pitting and his teammate Sukrafon, who was leading the race, pitting for a fresh set of hard tyres, that has formed a Williams 1-2 for this second safety car restart. I wonder if Diego will let his teammate by in the restarts to create a gap between him and William, who's pitted for a fresh set of hard tyres. Interesting strategy by Race Chase, who was in 15th place in the Alfa Romeo. That's Sebastian's teammates. They are just ahead of Rodico and Daryl, who round out the top 17 runners remaining for round 12 of this championship. So we're approaching half race distance. We're on lap 11 out of 29. Safety car restart is either at the end of this lap or the following lap. Let's give a roundup of the top 10 then. So we have Diego, then Sukrafon, Sinful, Ultimate Supero, Skid Solo, Trunk, Racing Wheel, DJ Lewis Virus, and William Lofgren and Sebastian rounding out the top 10. As we head onto the safety car restart, which will commence at the end of this lap, as the safety car will come in, as we've just seen the notification there. So will Diego copy what his teammate did on the previous safety car restart and go very late, heading out the final corner? Or will he go early, possibly even now? Safety car is about to enter the pit lane. Interestingly, RK44 has now overtaken Glass Flanker. He's on a fresh set of hard tyres. Driver's locking up there. That's Diego starting the restart. He's gonna see Sukrafon right in his rear end very shortly. 2 Williams going side by side into turn 1. And that's Sukrafon getting ahead of Diego. So Sukrafon has now taken the lead again. He's pitted for a new set of hard tyres. There's Simple there in 3rd place, maintained 3rd place. Ultimate Mr. Puro is maintained 4th place. Skid Solo and Trunk, who are on old sets of hard tyres. So is Racing on an old set of medium tyres. 10 lap used medium tyres. They're in 7th place in the Alpine. DJ Lewis Virus, as we see RPM Simple getting very close to the back of Diego, who is on an older set of medium tyres. Let's go on board of Simple. He's going to go round the outside, heading into turn 9. Not quite. Yellow flag for Ibo, who seems to have come to trouble at the exit of turn 6 and 7. Not far behind them as we see Quincy. Ooh, very close to the barrier between Quincy and DJ Lewis Virus. A lot of contact there, and he's just about captured that ball. So that's Quincy there, who has lost his front wing end plates. He will need to pit at the end of this lap. I beat ahead of him. Let's go on board with very close battle between Racing Wheel. Looks like it's going to be a three-way battle between Racing Wheel, William Lofgren, and Sebastian, who's right behind them. He's on board with William, who's going to take the outside line coming out of turn 2. Is Sebastian going to go move down the inside of all of them? Oh, that is Racing Wheel going a bit too deep in the brakes there. He's going to lose a lot of positions in the Alpine. And that's Race Chase getting ahead of him, who's now got up inside the top 10. Daryl, who lost a lot of positions as a result of a spin on lap 8, has made his way back up into 12th place, avoiding all the drama. Oh, and what's that? That is Racing Wheel, who's had a bad exit again. That has allowed Daryl to get up into 11th place. There's been a change for second position, so that's Simple ahead of Diego. Let's see if Diego can get ahead of him. There is no DRS so far. There won't be a DRS enabled until next lap. Diego is very close to the back of Simple, but he's not going to get ahead of him. Very close battle between... Ooh, a lot of contact there between Tronk. That's going to give great opportunity to William heading into turn 12. Oh, there's big contact there between Tronk and Sebastian. So that's Skid Solo. Sorry, not Skid Solo. Oh, and there's been contact there. So that is Daryl, who's got caught up in that mess, and his DNF for the second time in a row. Disaster there for Daryl, who has lost a lot of positions in the championship and is under threat of losing, of falling away from second and third place in the championship. So not a great race for Aston Martin so far. Daryl has DNF'd as a result of Tronk's spin. He is now in 12th place. Daryl not very happy with that. I wouldn't have been very happy with that. So that was Tronk going down the inside of Sebastian. Sebastian closed the door at the last minute. Tronk didn't bail out of it and spun as a result of it, which caught out Daryl completely by surprise, who couldn't avoid him and crashed into him, unfortunately. Yes, it looks like Daryl, unfortunately DNF'd, was an instant bystander in that incident between Sebastian and Tronk. We've got our third safety car of the race. Okay, so lots of drivers pitting there, so that is Veroduca coming out the pits on a fresh set of medium tyres. Ultimate Mr. Puro coming out the pit lane on a fresh set of hard tyres. They're in 8th place. Oh, unfortunately, Gas Blanca has received a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car. So that's not following the Delta. That's a common error to make for in any league, to be honest. That can catch out anyone. Let's go on board. So the top 3 has changed completely. So that's William, who has stayed out on his 5-lap-old hard tyres. Sebastian and RK44, who are doing the same strategy as him, around the top 3. Zuko F1, who's going to be very aggressive on the restart on this new set of medium tyres. Right behind him is Simple, who's pitted again for a fresh set of hard tyres. Then comes Diego in the Williams. That's Ultimate Mr. Pura and Diesel Virus going alongside each other. Safety car restart is likely to be next lap. So that's Racing Wheel there in the Alpine. Yeah, so they're in 10th place. Race Chase is just outside the top 10 in 11th place. Verdugo, Ibo, Glasslanker, Trunk, and Quincy around the top 16. Daryl and Callum are our 2 DNF so far. Very unfortunate incident for Daryl. He is, I think, yeah, he is 85 points behind our championship leader, Tukafwan, and with only a handful of races left to go, that could have caused that chance of going back into championship contention to go away. Unfortunately, so that's 2 DNFs in a row for Daryl, who was also falling away from William and Andrew in the championship standings. So they're second and third. They managed to get ahead of him in previous races due to misfortune. Glasslanker has pitted. He stayed out on that medium set of tyres. Okay. Oh, it's very close there between Gigi Lewis Virus and Ultimate Supero. Now, the safety car is likely to come at the end of this lap. It will be William Lofgren on 6th lap old hard tyres doing the restart. There's a notification, so safety car will be at the end of this lap. So it'll be William in the Ferrari, who was second place in the championship, taking this restart, the third safety car restart. Sebastian will be second ahead of RK44 in the McLaren. Our championship leader, Sukafon, pitted during the safety car and has fallen to 4th place on a new set of medium tyres. There are drivers on a fresh set of tyres behind them, so that's Simple, Diego, Skid Solo and Ultimate Supuro rounding up the top 8. They all pitted during the safety car too and will be fast charging, as well as Sucre F1 on a new set of medium tyres. And it looks like William has gone much earlier compared to the other drivers who did the restarts. Very close between Sucre F1 and RK44. They're going alongside each other, heading into turn 1. That's Sucre F1. Nice and easy move into turn 1 for him. Nearly gets into the grass there, but has managed to complete the move and is now up into the top 3. Looks to be all clean behind for the moment. Sebastian is not letting William breathe off into the distance, so it's only 4.5 tenths between those two. Ultimate Mr. Puro seems to have had an incident, so he has come to trouble coming out of turn 4. He might have had some contact with the barrier too. Very close battling between those drivers. Trunk and Quincy are battling. Let's go back on board as the leaders though. No moves for position so far. So very close between those two. Okay, so that's going to be Verdugo and the AlphaTauri of Ibo battling very hard. There have been a change for second place, so that is Sukafon who's got ahead of Sebastian. I wonder if Sebastian made a mistake heading into turn 11. And he's going to now chase down the lead immediately. It's only been a lap since the safety car restart, and the gap has already closed. There you can see the top 6 on the right of the screen, and a big gap, a 5-second gap back to Skid Silo. That is probably due to everyone else taking avoiding action of Ultimate Mr. Puro, who spun. That Aston Martin driver has come into the pit lane. Probably changed his front wing because I did see some wing damage there. Very close between Sukafon and William. Now Sukafon nearly going to move down the inside into turn 6. He's going to have a great exit heading into turn 9. He's already made the move before going into turn 9. So Sukafon have retaken the lead here. William will take the outside line, but it won't be enough. Sukafon is going to take the lead here again on lap 18 of this 29 lap race. Got just over 10 laps to go. We've passed halfway distance. Sebastian is rounding up the top 3. Arco fully won the McLaren in 4th place, having a great race there. And then the Simple and Diego battling. Quincy losing some positions there to Trunk and Verdugo. Race Chase looking to make a move on. Is that? Yeah, that is Racing Wheel, who's rounding up the top 9. Race Chase rounding up the top 10. Verdugo just outside the top 10 within DRS range 2. There has been a change for 5th position, so that is Diego. He was squeezed a little bit there by Simple, who's got up into 5th place. Let's go on board between this close battle between William and Sebastian in the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo. Compared to Sucre F1, William has only got 1 win so far this season, that was at Las Vegas. Sucre F1 is on track to get his 8th win of the season, but his consistency has managed to keep him in championship contention. The gap between those two drivers is only 60 points. So anything can happen in these final 6 rounds. And that is Race Chase nearly going for a move down the inside there of Racing Wheel, who's now in 8th place. Let's go on board with Sebastian, who's going side by side with William. So that's William, who's now dropped to 3rd place. He did safety car restart from the lead, and it's now dropped to 3rd place. Let's see if RK44 can catch up to this battle here. There you can see him just at the back of in the McLaren. Diego is battling hard with Simple for 5th place. Haas are on track to close that gap down to Mercedes and McLaren. And with a 6th place, they can definitely do that. Verdugo is just outside the top 10 too. So they're on track for a double points finish. That's Race Chase and Racing Wheel battling. And also DJ Lewis Virus, who is right behind Racing Wheel. 3-way battle heading into turn 9. Let's see how this ends up. Whoa, big, nearly a heavy crash into the barrier for DJ Lewis Virus, the reserve driver for Red Bull today. Let's go back towards the front of the field. About to start lap 21. That is, yeah. So William is stayed within DRS range of Sebastian. That gap is 0.3. Very close though. Nearly, I think it's a 6-way battle between all of these drivers, possibly 7-way battle. Yeah, so very close battle between 7th and 13th place. Good solo. McLaren are on track to score a good haul of points. Mercedes are under threat from losing their 8th place in the championship, with both their drivers being outside the top 10. Callum, their reserve driver, wasn't going to score any points for them anyway, as a result of being a reserve driver. Reserve drivers can't score points in the Mab Racing Championship, and Quincy is unfortunately just outside the top 10 too. So they're relying on a safety car to maintain their 8th place in the championship. Let's go on board with this battle. That is Skid Solo maintaining his place ahead of Race Chase. That's the battle for 7th place. The 2 Red Bull teammates are battling out of turn 10, and now we've got is that Quincy very close to him. Nearly three wide there. That's Quincy down the inside of DJ Lewis Virus. Very close contact between Trunk and now Quincy, who's got involved with this battle. Let's go back on board with Sebastian. Once again, the Red Bull teammates battling coming out of turn 2. And then we have Quincy in the Mercedes in 13th place right behind them. Ibo is not nearly 10 seconds behind that battle. And Ultimus Pura has pitted for a new set of soft tyres as a result of getting damaged in the safety car restart. They are 20 seconds behind Ibo. And nearly lapped down is Glass Lanka in 16th place. Let's go back on board with our leader. We haven't been on board with him for a while. They are on track to extend their championship lead. They're currently on 225 points. They will extend that gap to William by the way things are looking at the moment. William is in 3rd place, so they're in 2nd place in the championship. And then we have RK44, who is outside the top 10 in the championship in the driver standings, but a few good results from him in the previous rounds, in the most recent rounds, are getting him close to that top 10 in the McLaren. McLaren are in, I think they're in 7th place in the championship now. They were 9th at one point, so they've made some improvements throughout the season. Very close battle between 6th and 9th place in the team standings. That order could easily change heading to the final as we head into the final round. We do still have 6 rounds to go. The next round, I think the next round is in. Oh yeah, so the next round is going to be at Monza. So Monza in Spain follow this round. Very close battle between William and Sebastian. Still, we have just over 6 laps to go. So yeah, this battle could easily go on until the end of the race. The battle for 2nd place. They're both on track to get onto the podium here. There you can see RQ44 just about in that picture. And then we have Diego in the Williams, who does have a penalty. I think it's only a 3-second penalty though, so Simple is on track not to get past him due to the penalty. So he is on track to remain in 6th place in the Haas. Then comes Race Chase and Skid Solo. That 7-way battle has now expanded into many different trains. Still a very close battle between the Red Bulls, Quincy and DJ Lewis Virus. Skid Solo is looking to get ahead of Race Chase, who's on the hard tyres. The only driver on the soft tyre is Ultimate Stapuro, who unfortunately picked up damage on the safety car restarts. DJ Lewis Virus looks to have made a mistake coming out of turn 2 and has lost place to his teammate, Trunk, who did start fifth, but stalled in the grid and lost a lot of positions. He's been playing catch up all race long and has nearly made himself up into the point. I wonder what's happened. Is Racing Wheel, who's made a mistake coming out of turn 5. He is now in 9th place. Veroduco is now letting him by. William there in the hard tyres. They're on Sebastian and William, who are battling for 2nd place. They're both in the same strategy. Sukafon is on the more aggressive medium strategy from the most recent safety car restarts. And that is Lars Flanker coming to the pit lane. He is a lap down, unfortunately. In 16th place. That gap for the battle for 2nd place has grown actually, so it's gone up to 6 tenths. Diego is just about staying within DRS range of RK44. Then we have a gap to Sinful, which is over 4 seconds. Chonk has now made himself up into 9th place, very deep in the brakes there, and some contact there between Quincy, who's lost a few positions there. He's lost place to DJ Lewis Virus. Got a bit trigger happy on the grass there coming out of turn 2 and really lost the rear. Kept at the barrier fortunately. He's dropped 13th again. All of that have put Trunk back up inside the top 10. Skid Solo and Race Chase are battling for 7th place. RPM Simple pretty much on the race in the zone in 6th place. In the Haas, Diego, the gap between Diego and RK44, the battle for 4th place, is now over a second. So he won't have DRS. He's on that, oh, now he will have DRS because that gap is closed to under a second again. Diego seems to be better in the middle and final section of the lap, because that's where he's closing that gap to within a second of RK34, who is on track to score 4th place here today at Albert Park for round 12 of the Mabel Racing Championship Season 5. And let's go back on board with William. Be a very close battle between... Yeah. Okay. That is Skitolo very close to Race Chase. Yeah, and that gap, that battle for 4th place, that gap has closed very quickly, so Diego might even get ahead of RK44 down the straight down to turn 9. So DRS open for him. Garslanka has got a 3-second penalty again. And that's Diego going round the outside into turn 9. He's now up into 4th place, looking for a very good result for Williams, who are our championship leaders at the moment. In the team standings, they'll be looking to extend that gap with a 1st and 4th place at the currently. Veroduca has got himself up into the top 10. He's got ahead of Racing Wheel in the Alpine. I did say a few laps ago that Simple was in a bit of a race on his own, but that has the gap between him and Race Chase and Skid Solo has closed rapidly. Now Skid Solo is nearly within DRS range. Okay. Yeah, so that's Diego just about staying ahead of RK44. He managed to get ahead of RK44 on the lap 26. Battling between Ultimate with Tapura and Ibo. They're battling for 14th place. That's not for a point scoring position. Racing Wheel have dropped outside the top 10. But they're within DRS range of Veroduca and Haas. Bit wide there from RK44. He might lose a bit of time. Actually, no. He's still within DRS range and is looking to get ahead of Diego, heading down the 3rd DRS zone, heading towards turn 9. He's going to go around the outside just like Diego did the final lap, the last lap, sorry. And RK44 has got ahead of Diego. The gap between Sebastian and William has closed again. And that's Race Chase, who's got ahead of RP and Simple now. So Simple and the Haas have dropped to 7th, and Skidsillo is not far behind them, so Simple is going to have a McLaren on his tail very shortly on 12 lap old medium tyres. There's been a change for 2nd position, I did not see that coming. William has got ahead of Sebastian in the Alfa Romeo. I wonder if he made a mistake. He's lost a lot of time. Has he got damage? No. I wonder if he's letting him by and is going to attack on the final few laps. William does have more ERS than him. He is staying within 6/10 of him, so now he's closed the gap down to 5/10. So he's looking to make an overtake on him in the final lap. Yellow flag in sector 3, that's going to be Ibo, I think. Yep. That's Simple lapping Ibo. Yeah, Sucre F1 lapping Ibo, sorry. And Diego, he made a move on RK44 a few laps ago, but it's not going to quite do it. This lap, he's only got one more chance to do it though. He's actually going to have a really good run down to turn 11. Doesn't quite have the inside line into turn 11. He's going to stay in 5th place there. He will have one more lap to try and get past him. Suka F1 has now started the final lap. A dominant performance by him so far. He did have to do quite a bit of overtaking. Ooh, he's in the rear there. And let's see if Sebastian is going to try and get past him. The best overtaking opportunity will be at turn 9, so you won't it's unlikely to overtake him at turn 3 here. But he does have DRS here. Is he going to go for a move down the inside? He won't. But I expect him to be on full attack coming out of turn 6 and 7. So it's very easy to make a mistake in this section of the track, so let's see. They both keep it clean through there. Good exit by both of them. But Sebastian will have the DRS. Opens DRS and is going to take the inside line. And he's going to get ahead of William there. So Sebastian up in second place, William down to third. However, Sebastian was behind William before the DRS detection point, so Sebastian got the DRS again, the fourth DRS zone. Oh, and that's Diego making a very good move down the inside of RK24. Last time I checked, he was 7 tenths behind, that was only 10 seconds ago. And he managed to get ahead of RK44 on the line. Oh, so William so Sebastian has let William by, so William's up in second place. Sukov won across the checkered flag to win his to get his 8th win of the season. RK44 gets ahead of Diego, who unfortunately got a penalty. Skid Solo, Tronk, and Racing Wheel are going to wrap up the top 10. Tronk does have a penalty. Let's see if Racing Wheel is going to get ahead of Tronk here. He doesn't. He was too far behind him on the timing. Boduco is just outside the top 10. GG Lewis Rice got a penalty as well, so Quincy's got ahead of him. Ultimate Mr. Puro was nearly lapped down. He actually was a lap down. So everyone's across the checkered flag now. Yeah, another very successful race for Suzuka F1. And with only 6 rounds to go, he is definitely the championship favourite. As he has been the whole season, all season long. That gap will extend, I think, to 70 points now, because he's going to get 10 more points compared to William this round. William came third. They see our championship leader Suzuka F1 on the top step on the podium for the 8th time this season. Suzuka F1 wins round 12 Australia. Joining him on the podium is Sebastian, who's in 5th place in the championship, and William, who finished 3rd, who is in 2nd place in the championship. There we go then, that is round 12 over at Albert Park today. Let's go through the results again. So Suzuka F1 got the strategy right, maintained his lead from pole position. Clean race from him. Not a very clean race from Daryl, who unfortunately got into a collision with Tronk and DNF'd unfortunately from the race. William, Sebastian wrapping up the podium positions. Arco44 and Race Chase wrapping up the top 5. Good results by both of them. Simple, Diego, Skid Solo, Tronk, and Racing Wheel wrapping up the top 10 in the Alpine there. Duke and Quincy just outside the top 10. Gigi Lewis Virus, the reserve driver for Red Bull, 13th. Ultimate Mr. Puro, Ibos, Glass Slanker rounding up our 16 finishes. Daryl and Callum DNF from the race, our 2 DNFs from round 12 today. So that's it for round 12. We'll be back in a week's time for round 13 in Monza. See you then.